6 minutes. I'm going to start this particular item, and as I said at the beginning, about a minute or so before 11 o'clock, we will stop no matter where we are. And this is item 11. It's a good news story. It's been moved by Kathy and seconded by myself around these grants. So I'm going to invite our officers to introduce this particular item. And just to give us a heads up, at 10:59 we will stop, and then I'll invite His Worship the Mayor to say a few words, and then we'll observe Armistice Day. Kia ora.
Kia ora tātou, it's Catherine George here, Regional Funding Advisor, and I'm presenting this item with Dickie Humphreys, who is the Head of Community Impact in our Connected Communities team. The Regional Community Development Grant Fund has one funding round a year. It's one of the smaller of the regional funds. And this year it was closed, applications closed in September, and we have had feedback from lots of people in the community that it was a difficult time. We did extend the grant time, but yeah, COVID has put all these things, into a lot of disarray. So it's a fund of $295,000. Of that, $30,000 is committed in a 3-year strategic relationship grant to Belong Aotearoa. We received 18 applications and have provided 8 recommendations for funding. The applications are all assessed by an assessment panel that includes internal staff and external assessors. This time round we had funding staff from Department of Internal Affairs and Foundation North, which was really great to have their expertise. A lot of them work with these organisations, and it's building some great relationships there. Because there were less applications received than usual, there is a balance of funds left over of $63,688. This isn't sufficient to run a second funding round this year. If it had have been over 100,000, then perhaps that would have been. So we have a recommendation here for you that alongside approving the grants, that the committee approve the balance of funds be repurposed for rapid response COVID-19 recovery grants. Our community impact team is setting up a COVID-19 task force to work on community recovery solutions, and so we've recommended, because that aligns really well with the aims of this particular fund, that is what the remains of the budget be allocated towards. Happy to take any questions or stop for 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so kia ora, Catherine. What I'm going to suggest here is that we stop now and just invite His Worship the Mayor. We will come back to item 11, but invite His Worship the Mayor to say a few words, and then we can observe Armistice Day. Kia ora, thank you. Your Worship.
Kia ora, Alf. Thank you very much. Inga mana, inga reo, ero rangatirama, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. At this time, on this day, 103 years ago, the guns on the Western Front in Europe finally fell silent after a bitter war of more than 4 years in which 16 million people or more died. And among those casualties, it was New Zealand that probably suffered one of the world's highest per head of population losses of any nation. We were a country of just 1 million people. We sent 100,000 people, 10% of our population, abroad to fight in the war. 60,000 of those were wounded, 18,000 died. And there must have been scarcely a person that was not suffering from the trauma of the horrific experiences of gas, of machine gun fire, of bombardments in the trench warfare on the Western Front and in other places such as Gallipoli. So today, albeit all that time ago, we remember those that made the sacrifice on behalf of future generations so that they might have better lives. We remember the courage of those who went over the top on the trenches, knowing almost certainly they would be killed, but they would rather die than let their mates and their country down. We remember members of our own family, a grandfather in my case that was gassed on the Somme but survived but died young, two great uncles who never came home. But most particularly, I think we use an occasion like this to commit ourselves to creating a more peaceful and a just world without war, lest we forget. We are now almost at the hour of 11 o'clock, Mr. Chairman. We'd normally be at the War Memorial Museum and commemorating it there, but because of COVID, we will do it in our own way today. And I suggest we now pause for a minute's silence to remember those who lost their lives, remember those who sacrificed on our behalf. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora matua. Just want to acknowledge, obviously, your family sacrifice, but all families who are either listening or on this online meeting, just to say thank you so much for your family service for and to Aotearoa, but for everybody. So ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. Thank you, Your Worship.
Kia ora.
So look, peeps, we'll get back into it again. I'm opening it up for pātai, and then for any whakaaro. So pātai first, and I'll be looking at the sidebar, 3-second rule. Three-second pātai gone. Any whakaaro? That's gone. Catherine, to you and your team, thank you so much. Good news story for Tamaki Makoto and also for you and the team. So ngā mihi ki a koe, Catherine. It's been moved and seconded. Kia ora, Catherine. It's been moved and seconded, so I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye. Aye.
Against? Carried. Just want to welcome Councillor Cooper. She came on earlier this morning. So kia ora, Councillor